Close your eyes now and let your body sink a little deeper into wherever you're resting. Tonight, we're going to drift away from everything familiar, away from the walls of this room, away from the weight of the day, and float quietly out into the dark. Not a frightening dark, a soft one. The kind of dark that holds a billion small lights, each one so far away it doesn't even flicker. It just glows, patient and still. We begin, as everything in our little corner of the universe begins, with the sun. Picture it now, hanging there in the center of everything, impossibly calm from this distance. It doesn't look like much from where you are, just a warm, steady light. But the sun is a star. An actual star, the same kind you see scattered across the night sky, except this one is close enough to warm your skin and paint the sky orange in the evenings. It has been burning quietly and endlessly for about 4.5 billion years. Longer than the mountains, longer than the oceans, long before anything on Earth ever took a breath. Let that settle over you for a moment. 4.5 billion years of quiet burning. Deep inside it, at its very core, the temperature climbs to somewhere near 15 million degrees Celsius. A heat so enormous it's almost meaningless to us. And yet, by the time that warmth travels all the way out to Earth, it arrives as something gentle. Something you can feel on your face on a spring afternoon, or through a window on a quiet morning. And here is a small, lovely thought to carry with you as we drift further out. The light leaving the sun right now, this very moment, takes about 8 minutes to reach the Earth. So whenever you look up and see sunlight, you're really seeing something that started its journey 8 minutes ago. A little postcard from the past, arriving fresh, every single time. Let's follow that light outward now. Just drift, slowly, the way a leaf might drift on still water. The first place we pass is small and quiet. A little gray world called Mercury. It sits closest to the sun of all the planets, and you might expect it to be the hottest place in the solar system. But Mercury has no real atmosphere to speak of, nothing to hold on to warmth or spread it around or protect it through the long nights. So during the day, its surface can scorch past 400 degrees Celsius. But when night falls with nothing to trap that heat, the temperature can plummet down to nearly negative 180 degrees. One small world, holding both extremes with nothing in between to soften the fall. Drift on. Let your breathing slow, the way the light slows as it spreads farther from its source. Next comes Venus, glowing softly, wrapped in thick, heavy clouds. It's easy to imagine Venus as gentle, given how beautifully it shines in our evening sky. But underneath those clouds is the hottest planet in the entire solar system. Hotter even than Mercury because Venus's thick atmosphere traps heat like a blanket that never comes off. And Venus keeps one more secret, a strange and quiet one. It spins backwards compared to almost every other planet, turning so slowly that a single day on Venus, one full sunrise to the next, actually lasts longer than an entire year there. Imagine that. A morning that outlasts the seasons. Rest here a moment. There's no need to hurry through the dark. Now Earth drifts into view. Home. Seen from out here, it's a small, blue, quiet marble wrapped in thin white clouds. And of everything we know of, out of all the stars and worlds we've cataloged so far, this is still the only place we've found that holds life. Not because it's the biggest or the closest to the sun or the most dramatic. Just because, very quietly, the conditions lined up here, water, warmth, air, and a strange invisible shield called a magnetic field generated deep within Earth's core that quietly deflects the harshest particles the sun throws our way. It's been doing that unnoticed for your entire life. Every night you've ever slept peacefully, it was working. Beside Earth floats the moon, pale and familiar. It's easy to think of the moon as something that was simply always there, but long ago something enormous struck the young Earth. A collision so violent it's hard to picture, and the debris from that impact slowly gathered itself together, out of dust and rock, into the moon we know now. And even today, the moon hasn't finished drifting. Every year, it moves a little farther away from us. Just a few centimeters, so slowly you'd never notice in a lifetime or 10 lifetimes. But it's moving steadily outward the way we are moving now. Let it carry you gently further. The last stop of this first quiet stretch is Mars, small and rust-colored, glowing faintly red even from a great distance. That color comes from iron in its soil, slowly oxidized over billions of years. rusted in the same quiet way a forgotten piece of metal rusts, left out in the rain. And somewhere on that rusted surface stands Olympus Mons, a mountain so vast it dwarfs anything on Earth, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest, rising so gradually across such enormous distances that if you stood at its base, you might not even realize you were looking at a mountain at all. Rest here. Let your thoughts go soft and slow, like dust settling after a long, long silence. We've drifted past 4 small worlds now and touched the edge of a 5th. Mercury, scorched and frozen. Venus, backwards and blanketed in heat. Earth quietly alive. The moon, born of violence, drifting gently away. And Mars, rusted red beneath its silent, towering mountain. There's no need to hold on to any of it. Just let it settle somewhere warm and quiet in the back of your mind, and rest. We'll continue drifting outward toward the giants in a little while. Continuing the journey outward from Mars toward the giants. Let's drift on now further than before into a stretch of space that feels different, quieter, emptier, wider. Between Mars and what comes next, there's a long, scattered region called the asteroid belt. It sounds, from stories and films, like something crowded and dangerous. Rocks slamming into rocks, a field too thick to pass through safely. But the truth is softer than that. The asteroid belt is mostly empty space. The rocks drifting through it are so spread out, so distant from one another, that spacecraft have sailed through it again and again without ever needing to dodge a single thing. Just quiet stone, tumbling slowly with vast, silent gaps between each piece. Somewhere in the middle of that belt floats Ceres, the largest object out there. It's round enough and large enough to be called a dwarf planet, a small, lonely world hidden in plain sight among all that scattered rubble, quietly orbiting, mostly unnoticed. Let yourself drift a little longer. There's nothing to rush toward. Eventually, the emptiness gives way to something enormous. Jupiter begins to rise ahead of you, and it just keeps rising, keeps growing. Jupiter is so large that if you could hollow it out, you could fit over 1,300 Earths inside it with room left to spare. It's less like passing a planet, and more like passing something closer to a small dim star that never quite gathered enough mass to ignite. On its surface swirls a storm, a deep reddish oval wide enough to swallow the Earth whole with room around the edges. This is the Great Red Spot, and it has been swirling without stopping for centuries. Longer than anyone alive has been watching. Longer than telescopes have existed to watch it. Just turning and turning quietly in the same slow, endless way you might spiral towards sleep tonight. Jupiter isn't alone up here either. It holds dozens upon dozens of moons in its grip. More than 90 that we've found so far, some no bigger than a mountain, others nearly the size of small planets. Let your thoughts brush past most of them gently and settle only on one. Europa. Small, icy and pale, wrapped in a shell of frozen water. But beneath that ice, hidden from any sunlight at all, scientists believe there's a vast ocean of liquid water, kept warm not by the sun, but by the slow, gentle squeeze and pull of Jupiter's gravity. An entire sea, hidden in darkness, quietly existing, untouched, maybe holding secrets we haven't found yet. Let it rest there in your mind, dark and calm and patient. Drift on now, past Jupiter, into the quiet dark beyond it. Soon, something pale and impossibly graceful comes into view, rings, circling gently around a soft golden world. This is Saturn, wrapped in thousands of thin bands made of ice and rock, some pieces no bigger than a grain of sand, others as large as a house, all of it turning together in slow, silent formation like a held breath. And here's a strange, gentle thought to carry with you as we pass it by. Saturn is so light, so full of gas rather than solid ground, that if you could somehow find an ocean big enough to hold it, Saturn would simply float. An entire planet, bobbing quietly on the surface, weightless and calm. Let that image settle over you now. A giant, golden world ringed in ice, floating. Rest here a while. We've drifted past the asteroid belt, past giant Jupiter and its hidden ocean moon, and now past Saturn, floating gently in the dark. There's nothing more to hold on to right now. Just let your breathing slow and drift along with these quiet worlds a little longer. Continuing outward past Saturn now into the colder edges of the solar system. Let's drift on a little further past Saturn's rings into darker, colder space. Out here, the sunlight has grown thin. If you looked back toward the sun now, it would look like just another bright star among all the others. Small, distant, quiet. The next world to rise out of the dark is a strange one. Uranus, pale blue-green, drifting along on its side. Almost every other planet spins upright, more or less the way a top spins on a table. But Uranus tips over almost completely, leaning at nearly a right angle so that instead of spinning like a top, it rolls through its orbit like a ball, tumbling slowly around the sun on its side. No one is entirely certain why. Perhaps something struck it long ago hard enough to knock it over and it never quite came back upright. It's a cold, quiet world. Its atmosphere holds some of the lowest temperatures ever measured on any planet in the solar system. Far colder than you'd expect, even out here in the dark, far from any warmth at all. And Uranus has rings too, though you'd hardly notice them. Not wide and bright like Saturn's. Just faint, dark, narrow threads circling it, easy to miss unless you know to look. Drift onward now. Let your body feel heavier, sinking further into stillness. Past Uranus lies Neptune, deep blue, glowing softly in the last of the sunlight. Neptune holds a strange kind of restlessness beneath its calm color. It's the windiest place in the entire solar system, with storms tearing across it at speeds beyond 2,000 kilometers an hour. Faster than anything on Earth. And yet, from any distance, it looks perfectly still, perfectly calm. A quiet blue world, hiding its fiercest weather deep inside its clouds. Here's a small, curious thought to rest on for a moment. Neptune wasn't found the way other planets were found, by simply looking up and noticing it. It was found first with numbers. Astronomers noticed something gently tugging on Uranus, pulling it slightly off its expected path, and they calculated, on paper, exactly where an unseen planet must be hiding to cause that pull. And when they finally pointed a telescope to that exact spot in the sky, there it was. A whole planet, discovered first in the mind before it was ever discovered by the eye. Neptune keeps one more secret close by, a moon named Triton. Almost every large moon in the solar system orbits in the same direction its planet spins. Triton doesn't. It drifts backwards, circling Neptune the wrong way entirely, which tells us quietly that it probably wasn't born alongside Neptune at all. It was likely captured long ago, drawn in from the cold, icy edges of the solar system, and pulled into an orbit it never quite belonged to. Let your thoughts drift a little further now, past Neptune into the faint, scattered dark beyond. Out here lies the Kuiper Belt, a vast, quiet ring of icy little worlds circling far out in the cold. And somewhere among them drifts Pluto, small and pale, once called the ninth planet and now called something gentler instead, a dwarf planet. Not lesser, just different. A small, icy traveler, tucked among countless others just like it, circling slowly, patiently in the dark. Rest here for a while. We've drifted so far now, past sideways Uranus, windy Neptune, its backwards moon, and the quiet icy edge where Pluto drifts. There's nothing left to reach for right now. Just let the dark hold you, soft and endless, the way it holds all of this. Continuing further out, past Pluto, into the true edge of everything. Let's drift on now, further than we've gone before, into a stretch of space so vast it barely feels real. Out past Pluto, out past the icy little worlds of the Kuiper Belt, the sun has grown so faint and small behind us that it could almost be mistaken for nothing at all. And still there's more to drift through. Somewhere out here, comets begin their long, slow journeys. You may have seen one before if you're lucky, a soft smudge of light in the night sky, trailing a faint tail behind it. But a comet, up close, is really just a small, dirty ball of ice and dust quietly frozen, doing nothing at all for most of its life. It's only when a comet swings in close to the sun that it wakes up. The ice on its surface begins to warm and stream away into space, and that stream is what catches the sunlight and becomes the long, glowing tail we see from Earth. The tail isn't behind the comet either, the way you might expect, like smoke behind a car. It always points away from the sun, No matter which direction the comet is traveling, pushed outward by sunlight itself, gentle and constant. Drift on a little further. Let your thoughts grow soft and slow. Some comets take a very long time to complete a single loop around the sun. One of the most famous, Halley's Comet, only swings close enough to see from Earth once every 76 years or so. Which means most people only ever get to see it once in their whole lifetime, if they're fortunate enough to be looking up at the right moment. And there are comets far lonelier than that. Out here, in the space we're drifting through now, lies the beginning of something called the Oort cloud, a vast, thin shell of icy fragments, surrounding the entire solar system like a soft cocoon, so far out that some of its edges may lie almost a full light year away from the sun. It's less a place and more an idea, a quiet boundary where the sun's gentle pull finally starts to fade into the pull of everything else in the galaxy. Rest here a moment, floating in that thought. A boundary so far away it barely belongs to us at all. Let's turn our attention gently to something smaller and closer to home for a moment. Something you might not expect out here in the vastness. Meteors. Those quick streaks of light people call shooting stars aren't stars at all. They're just small bits of rock or dust, sometimes no larger than a grain of sand, burning up as they brush against Earth's atmosphere at incredible speed. That soft, sudden flash you might catch out of the corner of your eye on a clear night. It's over in less than a second, and yet it's a tiny piece of space, older than almost anything on Earth, ending its long journey in one last, quiet burst of light. And every single day, without you ever noticing, Earth quietly gathers up tons of this dust and debris from space. It settles all around us all the time, so lightly and so gently that it simply becomes part of the ground beneath your feet without a sound. Let your breathing slow further now. Let your body feel still and warm and safe. We've drifted so very far tonight, past comets waking briefly in the sunlight, into the icy quiet of the Oort cloud, and back to the soft, constant fall of stardust settling gently over the Earth, every day unnoticed. There's nothing more to hold on to. Just let it all rest quietly now and drift along with it. Let's turn back inward for a moment, toward some smaller worlds we drifted past too quickly, before pushing out toward the very edge of everything humans have ever reached. Let your mind settle for a moment, and let's drift back, gently, to a few small worlds we passed by too quickly before. Moons, mostly quiet places that hold more mystery than their size would ever suggest. Around Saturn floats Titan, wrapped in a thick, hazy orange atmosphere, thicker even than Earth's own air. And beneath those clouds lies something almost impossible to picture: rivers and lakes and even seas filled not with water, but with liquid methane and ethane, cold and still, gently rippling under a dim, distant Sunday. It's the only place we know of anywhere beyond Earth, with stable liquid resting openly on its surface. A whole world of quiet, alien shorelines, drifting along in the dark. Nearby, small and icy, is Enceladus. It seems at first glance like nothing at all, a tiny, bright, frozen moon. But near its south pole, gentle plumes of water vapor and ice quietly erupt out into space, again and again, rising up from a hidden ocean sealed away beneath its icy shell. Spacecraft have flown directly through those plumes, tasting, in a sense, the inside of a moon that shouldn't have anything to offer at all, and finding water, misting softly out into the dark. Drift on now back toward Jupiter for a moment. There, a small moon named Io glows with restless, fiery light. Io is the most volcanically active place in the entire solar system. More active than Earth, more than anywhere else we've found. Not because it's especially hot inside on its own, but because Jupiter's enormous gravity squeezes and stretches it over and over as it orbits, a constant, invisible kneading that keeps its insides molten, and its surface erupting endlessly in slow motion. And beside Io floats Ganymede, quiet and pale, and larger than you might expect. In fact, Ganymede is the largest moon in the entire solar system, bigger even than the planet Mercury. It even generates its own faint magnetic field, a quiet little shield of its own, tucked deep inside a moon that most people have never even heard of. Let your body grow heavier now. Let's drift outward again, past everything we've seen tonight, toward the very edge. Surrounding this entire solar system, farther out than even the icy comets we passed before, there's an invisible, enormous bubble called the heliosphere. It's shaped by something called the solar wind, a constant, gentle stream of tiny charged particles, drifting outward from the sun in every direction all the time. You felt its effects before, even if you didn't know it. Those soft curtains of green and purple light in the northern sky, the aurora, are simply this solar wind brushing gently against Earth's own magnetic field high above us. That quiet wind pushes outward for a very, very long way before it finally grows too weak to continue. And right at that fading edge is where the heliosphere ends and true interstellar space begins. And here's a small, remarkable thought to close this stretch of our journey. There is a single, small spacecraft launched from Earth back in 1977 called Voyager 1 that has been drifting outward this entire time, and it has now traveled so far that it has actually crossed that boundary. It has left the heliosphere behind completely, and is drifting now through true interstellar space, farther from home than anything else we've ever built. It carries with it a small golden record, a quiet little collection of sounds and images from Earth, greetings in different languages, music, the sound of rain, of a heartbeat. Just in case somewhere out in that vast, silent dark, someone or something ever finds it and wonders where it came from. Rest here for a while. Let it settle over you gently, rivers of methane, quiet geysers of ice, a restless volcanic moon, a giant moon with its own small shield, and one tiny golden voice drifting on, alone, into the endless dark. Let's push even further outward now, past everything we've touched so far, toward the strange little worlds scattered at the very edges of what we call our solar system. Let your thoughts drift now, further than Pluto, further than we've gone before, into a stretch of space so thin and quiet it barely feels like it belongs to anything at all. Out here, scattered across the dark, are a handful of small, icy worlds that most people have never heard of. One of them, named Eris, drifts along, cold and pale, almost exactly the same size as Pluto. In fact, when it was first discovered out past the edge of the Kuiper Belt, it caused quite a stir. If Pluto counted as a planet, shouldn't this one too? That quiet question, more than anything else, is what eventually led astronomers to gently redraw the rules altogether. And it's part of why Pluto came to be called a dwarf planet instead. Not a demotion really. Just a clearer, gentler kind of honesty about what these small worlds actually are. Nearby floats Haumea, one of the strangest shapes out here. Most planets and moons settle over time into a calm, rounded sphere. But Haumea spins so quickly on its axis, completing a full day in under 4 hours, that it's been stretched, gently but firmly, into the shape of an egg. A whole world, spinning too fast to ever quite settle into stillness. And a little further along drifts Makemake, small and reddish, named after a creation deity from Rapa Nui, the island most people know as Easter Island. It circles alone out here, quietly, one of the loneliest known worlds in this distant, thinning edge of everything. Let your breathing slow again. Let's step back now gently and consider the size of it all. If you could shrink the sun down to the size of a beach ball, resting in the palm of your hand, Earth would be a tiny grain, smaller than a peppercorn, drifting about 30 meters away. Neptune, at that same tiny scale, would be nearly a kilometer off in the distance. And everything we've drifted through tonight, every planet, every moon, every glowing ring, would still only be a small, close neighborhood compared to the vast, empty stretches of space that lie just beyond it. Rest in that thought a moment. How much space there truly is between each small, quiet thing. Let's turn back toward the sun again just briefly before we rest. Right now, in this very moment, deep inside the sun, roughly 600 million tons of hydrogen are being gently transformed into helium every single second. That quiet, endless process is what keeps it burning, what keeps it warm, what keeps everything we've seen tonight held together in its gravity. But even the sun, patient as it is, won't burn forever. Billions of years from now, long after we're gone, it will slowly swell into something called a red giant, growing larger and larger until it gently swallows Mercury, then Venus, its light and warmth reaching further than it ever has before. It's not something to feel unsettled by. It's simply the slow, unhurried rhythm of things, beginnings and endings, stretched out over such enormous time that it barely feels real at all. And here's one last quiet thought to close this stretch of our journey. This entire solar system, the sun and everything drifting around it, everything we've traveled through tonight, is itself slowly orbiting something even larger. The center of our galaxy, the Milky Way. It takes about 230 million years to complete just one loop, which means the very last time our solar system was in this exact spot in the galaxy, dinosaurs hadn't even appeared on Earth yet. Let that settle over you now, slow and warm. We are drifting, all of us, all the time, gently circling something vast on a journey so long it barely has a shape at all. Rest here a while longer. Let it all go quiet. Let's drift back toward some quieter corners of the solar system we haven't lingered on yet, before circling gently toward how it all began. Let your body settle a little deeper now. We've traveled so far tonight already, but there's still more to notice tucked into corners we passed by too quickly. Let's return just briefly to Mercury, small, scorched Mercury, closest to the sun of all the planets. You might think a world so close to that heat could never hold anything cold. But deep inside certain craters near its poles, sunlight never quite reaches the bottom. The walls of those craters are so steep, and the angle of the sun so low, that the floor stays locked in permanent shadow forever. And in that shadow, quietly, patiently hides water ice, frozen solid, untouched by warmth, tucked away in darkness on the hottest planet's own doorstep. A small, cold secret hiding in plain sight. Drift onward, gently, to Venus again for a moment. Those thick clouds wrapped around Venus, the ones that make it glow so softly from a distance. They aren't made of water the way clouds are here on Earth. They're made of sulfuric acid, drifting in a thick, hazy blanket, high above a surface hot enough to melt lead. A beautiful, glowing world, wrapped in something far harsher than it lets on. Let your thoughts drift now all the way back out to Pluto and its quiet companion, Charon. Most moons circle their planet the way you'd expect. A smaller world orbiting patiently around a much larger one. But Pluto and Charon share something more delicate than that. Charon is so large compared to Pluto that instead of Pluto sitting still while Charon circles it, the two of them gently orbit a shared point in space between them, a point that actually lies outside Pluto itself. They lean toward each other, forever caught in a slow, quiet dance, neither one fully in charge, both circling the same soft, invisible center. Rest here a moment, and let's drift back toward Jupiter one more time. Sharing Jupiter's orbit, far ahead and far behind it, are two loose swarms of asteroids called the Trojans. They don't circle the sun on their own separate path. They travel along with Jupiter, held gently in place by the balance between Jupiter's gravity and the sun's, at quiet points in space where the pull of both feels, for a moment, perfectly even. Thousands of small, quiet rocks, drifting along forever in Jupiter's shadow, neither pulled in nor let go. Let your breathing slow further. Let's come back gently to Earth for just a moment. You felt the seasons change over and over your whole life. Summer's warmth, winter's chill, and the quiet in-between of spring and autumn. All of that comes from something simple, tucked into the way Earth quietly tilts on its axis, about 23.5 degrees, leaning gently to one side as it circles the sun. That small, steady lean is the only reason the seasons exist at all. Nothing more dramatic than a soft, permanent tilt, carried patiently through every single year of your life. Drift outward again now, back toward Uranus and Neptune, cold and blue in the dark. Deep beneath their clouds, under pressure so immense it's hard to imagine, some scientists believe something remarkable may be happening. Carbon, compressed so tightly that it slowly crystallizes into diamonds, and rains gently downward through the thick, dark atmosphere, sinking slowly toward each planet's core. Entire, quiet showers of diamonds falling endlessly in the dark where no one will ever see them. Let your body feel still and heavy now. One more small moon to visit before we rest. Around Saturn floats Mimas, a small, icy moon marked by one enormous crater, so large it stretches across nearly a third of the moon's entire width. From certain angles, that crater gives Mimas the quiet appearance of a great, watching eye, drifting slowly through Saturn's rings, a small, calm face, carried gently through the dark for billions of years. Let's rest for a moment on how all of this began in the first place. Long before any of these worlds existed, there was only a vast, slowly swirling cloud of gas and dust, drifting quietly in space. About 4.5 billion years ago, something disturbed that cloud, perhaps the shockwave of a distant, exploding star, and it began to collapse gently in on itself, flattening slowly into a wide, spinning disk. At its center, the material gathered together and grew so dense and so hot that it ignited into our sun. And around it, in that same spinning disk, smaller clumps of dust and rock and ice slowly gathered themselves together too, over millions of quiet years, into the planets and moons we've drifted past tonight. Everything we've seen so far tonight came from that same quiet, spinning cloud. Rest here a while longer. Let it all settle, soft and slow, hidden ice, acid clouds, a gentle orbital dance, quiet swarms of asteroids, a steady tilt, diamond rain, a watching eye of ice, and the slow, patient cloud that gave rise to it all. Let's drift into some of the more delicate mysteries now, the quiet, unanswered questions that still linger at the edges of what we know. Let your mind settle again, soft and unhurried. There's still more to notice, tucked into corners of the dark we haven't reached yet. Let's drift back toward Mars for a while and rest there a moment. Mars wasn't always the quiet, rust-colored world we passed by earlier. Long ago in Mars's own distant past, there's strong evidence that rivers once carved through its surface, and lakes, and maybe even a shallow ocean, resting gently across parts of its northern half. You can still see the dry, curved paths where water once moved, quiet riverbeds, long since emptied, carrying nothing now but a soft, red dust. Somewhere in that ancient wetness, we still don't know for certain whether anything ever lived. It's one of the softest, quietest mysteries out here, a world that may have once been gentler than it is now, holding its answer just out of reach. Drift onward now toward one of Saturn's other quiet moons. Iapetus is strange in a way that puzzled astronomers for a long time. One side of this small moon is bright, almost white like fresh snow. The other side is dark, almost black like soot. It looks, from a distance, like two different moons stitched together. The most likely explanation, gathered slowly over years of quiet study, is that dark dust from somewhere else in Saturn's system drifts onto one side of Iapetus as it orbits, while the other side stays untouched and pale and clean. A moon wearing two different faces, forever turned the same way, never quite blending. Let your thoughts drift further toward something a little different now. Not a planet or a moon, but a question. Out past Neptune, far beyond even the objects we've spoken of tonight, some astronomers believe there may be another planet hiding in the dark. One we've never actually seen. They call it, for now, Planet 9. No telescope has spotted it directly. But several small, icy worlds far out in the Kuiper Belt seem to move in ways that only quite make sense if something large and unseen is gently tugging on them from somewhere in the distance. Maybe nothing at all. Or it may simply be waiting out there, patiently, for the right telescope at the right moment to finally notice it. Rest in that thought a while. A whole planet, perhaps, hiding just past the edge of what we know. Let's turn our attention back toward the sun once more, gently, before resting further. You already know the sun keeps the planets close, holding them in their orbits. But it also reaches out much further than that, in a much quieter way. Every 11 years or so, the sun moves through a slow, steady cycle, its magnetic activity rising and falling gently again and again. During the more active stretches of that cycle, the sun's surface grows freckled with dark little patches called sunspots, cooler than the surface around them, and prone to sudden bursts of energy called solar flares. It's a slow, rhythmic breathing, really, the sun quietly rising and settling in activity over and over on a cycle far longer than any of ours. Drift a little further now, and let's visit one very small, very determined moon. Around Neptune floats Triton, which we touched on briefly before, the moon that circles backwards. But Triton holds one more quiet secret. Even though it's one of the coldest places in the entire solar system, it has active geysers, quietly venting nitrogen gas and dark dust up into its thin atmosphere, drifting for miles before gently settling back down onto the icy surface. A cold, quiet moon, still faintly alive with movement, even out there in that dim and distant cold. Let your breathing slow further. There's one more gentle thought before we rest. Scattered across the solar system, especially among comets and some of the icy moons we visited tonight, scientists have found the basic chemical building blocks of life. Simple organic molecules, the same kinds of ingredients that, here on Earth, eventually gathered themselves into living things. It doesn't mean life is out there, but it means the ingredients are far more common and far more widespread than we once believed, quietly scattered, waiting across countless cold and silent worlds. Rest here now a while longer. Let it all settle. Ancient rivers on Mars, a moon with two faces, a hidden planet that may or may not be waiting in the dark, the sun's own slow rhythmic breathing, a cold moon still faintly venting into space, and the quiet ingredients of life, scattered further than we ever imagined. Let's continue drifting, gathering a few more quiet wonders before we near the end of this long, slow journey. Let your body settle even further now, heavy and warm, sinking deeper into rest. Let's drift back toward Jupiter once more, and pause at a moon we haven't visited yet. Callisto floats quietly out there, one of Jupiter's larger moons, and one of the most heavily cratered places in the entire solar system. Its surface has barely changed in billions of years, no volcanoes reshaping it, no shifting ice resurfacing it, just crater after crater, gently layered over unimaginable stretches of time. In a strange way, Callisto is like an old, quiet photograph of the early solar system, still holding its shape, undisturbed, while everything else drifted on and changed around it. Rest a moment and let's turn towards something farther out again. You may remember Halley's Comet, drifting past on its long, slow loop. But not all comets return so politely. Some come from far out in the Oort cloud, on journeys so long that they swing in toward the sun only once, perhaps every few million years, before continuing on, out past everything we've spoken of tonight, into the deeper dark between the stars, never to return again. A single quiet visit and then gone forever. Let your breathing slow further, and let's drift towards Saturn's rings again for a moment, closer this time. Saturn's rings look, from a distance, like one smooth, solid band of light circling the planet. But up close, they're made of countless individual pieces of ice and rock, some no larger than a snowflake, others as large as a house, all gently orbiting together, bumping and settling against one another in a slow, endless drift. Tiny moons, tucked in among the rings themselves, quietly shepherd the ice into place, keeping certain gaps clear, the way a soft hand might gently smooth a blanket into place. Rest here, and let's return once more to Earth, gently, before we near the end of our journey tonight. There's a thin, invisible layer high above you right now, called the ozone layer, quietly absorbing most of the sun's harshest ultraviolet light before it ever reaches the ground. It's easy to forget it's there at all, since you can't see it or feel it directly. But it's been standing guard patiently for your entire life, and for long before that too. One more quiet, unnoticed kindness held gently over the world. Let your thoughts drift outward once more toward the space between the stars themselves. The nearest star to our own sun, a small dim star called Proxima Centauri, sits about 4¼ light years away. It sounds close, spoken like that in a single simple sentence. But if you could travel at the speed of the fastest spacecraft we've ever built, it would still take tens of thousands of years to arrive. A gentle reminder of just how much dark, quiet space rests between even the closest of neighbors. Rest now, a while longer, in the quiet of that thought. Let's gather one more small, gentle mystery before we rest completely. Some meteorites that have fallen to Earth, quietly recovered from deserts and ice fields, have been found to be older than the Earth itself. Tiny fragments left over from the very beginning of the solar system, drifting for over 4½ billion years before finally settling, softly, into the ground beneath someone's feet. A small piece of the very beginning resting quietly in your hand. Let everything settle now. Callisto's old, undisturbed face. A lonely comet passing once and never returning. Saturn's rings tended gently by tiny shepherd moons. Earth's quiet, unseen shield above you. The vast dark between even the nearest stars. And a small stone older than the world it landed on. Rest here a while. We're almost home now. Let's bring this long, slow journey to its gentle close. Let your body feel completely still now. Heavy, warm, and quiet. We've drifted so very far tonight, and now softly we begin to circle back. Let's pause one last time near home. Earth's magnetic field, the same quiet shield that's been protecting you your entire life, doesn't just deflect the sun's harshest particles. It also occasionally, slowly flips entirely. Over hundreds of thousands of years, What we call magnetic north gently drifts and shifts, and sometimes fully reverses so that a compass needle that once pointed north would instead point south. It has happened many times before across Earth's long history, always slowly, always gently, never all at once. Rest in that thought a moment, and let's drift toward the moon once more for one final visit. The moon doesn't make its own light at all. Every soft glow you've ever seen it cast across a quiet night is simply sunlight, reflected gently off its pale, dusty surface, and sent drifting down to us. A borrowed light, traveling first from the sun, bouncing softly off the moon, and finally settling over you, wherever you are resting tonight. Let your breathing slow further, and let's turn once more toward the stars themselves, just beyond our own small neighborhood. Every star you've ever looked up and seen twinkling quietly in the night sky is really just another sun, some larger, some smaller, some brighter, some dimmer, scattered across distances so vast they're difficult to hold in the mind. And many of them quite likely have their own small families of planets circling them too, just like ours, entire unseen solar systems, drifting quietly through the dark, each with their own quiet mysteries, most of which we may never come to know. Rest here and let's gather one more soft thought before we finish. If you added up every planet in our solar system together, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, all of it combined, it would still only make up a very small fraction of everything held within the solar system. Almost all of the mass, nearly everything that exists out here belongs to the sun alone. Every planet, every moon, every ring, every quiet comet we've drifted past tonight. Just a soft scattering of small things, circling one enormous, patient light. Let your body sink further now, soft and unhurried. And here is one final quiet thought to close our journey. Every atom in your body, every part of you that breathes and rests and drifts toward sleep right now, was formed long ago deep inside the heart of a star, much like the ones we've passed tonight. Stars that lived and burned, and eventually came to their own gentle ends, scattering the pieces of themselves outward into space, where they drifted quietly for billions of years before slowly gathering here into you. You are made of the same quiet material as everything we've seen tonight. The same soft dust that built the planets, the same patient light that warmed them. Let that settle over you now, gently, like a blanket being drawn softly into place. We've traveled so far together tonight, past scorched Mercury and backwards Venus, past quiet Earth and its drifting moon, past rusted Mars and its ancient rivers, through the wide, empty spaces of the asteroid belt, past giant Jupiter and its hidden ocean, past Saturn floating gently on an imagined sea, past sideways Uranus and windy Neptune, out to the icy edges where Pluto and its quiet neighbors drift, past sleeping comets and a thin, invisible shield of stardust, all the way out to the very edge of the sun's soft reach, and finally gently back home again, to you. There's nothing left to hold on to now. Just let it all rest, quiet and still, exactly where it is. Sleep now. Let the dark hold you the way it holds everything else.